Shocking revelation at Five Poppies. Is Dex really alive on General Hospital? The exclusive Five Poppies resort in Croatia has become the epicenter of General Hospital's most explosive storyline yet, and this week's developments promise to leave fans reeling with disbelief as Josslyn Jax and her WSB partner Vaughn continue their undercover mission. Posing as blissful newlyweds, an earth-shattering discovery awaits that will challenge everything viewers thought they knew about recent tragic events in Port Charles. The perfect cover story unravels. The pristine Croatian coastline provides the perfect backdrop for what was supposed to be a routine intelligence-gathering mission. Josslyn and Vaughn have seamlessly slipped into their roles as honeymooners, complete with matching wedding rings and carefully constructed backstories. Their assignment seems straightforward: investigate the mysterious activities at the Five Poppies, while maintaining their cover as tourists seeking a romantic getaway. But the Five Poppies resort harbors secrets far more dangerous than anyone at the WSB anticipated. What started as surveillance work is about to transform into a deeply personal nightmare for Josslyn, one that will force her to confront the devastating loss she thought she had accepted months ago. A face that should be impossible. The moment arrives like a thunderbolt during what should have been an ordinary evening. At the resort's elegant dining room, Josslyn, maintaining her newlywed charade with practiced ease, freezes mid-conversation when a server approaches their table. The man's profile, his walk, even the way he holds himself, everything about him screams of impossible familiarity. It's Dex, or someone who bears such an uncanny resemblance to her supposedly deceased boyfriend, that Josslyn's carefully maintained composure shatters instantly. The wine glass in her hand trembles as she stares, her mind racing to process what her eyes are telling her. This can't be happening. Dex died in her arms at General Hospital. She held his hand as his heart monitor flatlined. She grieved for him, mourned the future they would never have. Yet here stands a man who could be his twin, serving cocktails to unsuspecting resort guests as if the world hadn't fundamentally changed. When Dex Heller drew his last breath in Port Charles, the Croatian accent deception, fighting every instinct screaming at her to maintain her cover. Josslyn excuses herself from Vaughn and follows the server toward the bar area. Her heart pounds so loudly she's certain everyone in the restaurant can hear it. When she finally works up the courage to approach him directly, her voice barely above a whisper, she calls out the name that has haunted her dreams. Dex. The man turns, and for a split second, Josslyn sees a flicker of recognition in his eyes. Or does she? But then his expression shifts to polite confusion, and when he speaks, it's with a heavy Croatian accent that sounds practiced, almost theatrical. He's Gospool. Ni razumem, he says, his brow furrowed in apparent bewilderment. Even his confusion seems wrong somehow, too deliberate. Josslyn's determination overrides her shock. She switches to English, her voice stronger now, more insistent. I'm sorry, I thought you were someone else. Someone I knew back in America. The man, this Dex lookalike, maintains his puzzled expression. But there's something flickering behind his eyes that Josslyn recognizes. Fear, desperation. A silent plea for her to stop asking questions? The Modric explanation. Before Josslyn can press further, another server approaches, a woman with kind eyes and perfect English, who seems eager to resolve the confusion. She places a protective hand on the mysterious man's shoulder and offers an explanation. That should put the matter to rest. I apologize for any confusion, she says with a warm smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. This is Modric. He's been working here for several months now. He's from a small village up the coast, doesn't speak much English, I'm afraid, and definitely not American. Modric nods vigorously, seemingly grateful for the intervention. He offers a polite smile and mutters what sounds like thanks in Croatian, before quickly retreating to the safety of the kitchen area. The entire exchange lasts less than 2 minutes, but it feels like an eternity to Josslyn. The female server continues, her tone friendly but firm. We get this sometimes with our international guests. People see familiar faces in unfamiliar places. It's quite normal, really. The mind plays tricks when we're far from home. Josslyn's growing suspicions. But Josslyn Jax didn't become a WSB agent by accepting convenient explanations without question. As she returns to her table, her training kicks in, and she begins cataloging every detail of the encounter. The way Modric held himself, the brief moment of recognition in his eyes, even the practiced nature of his accent. It all feels like an elaborate performance. Over dinner, she struggles to maintain normal conversation with Vaughn while her mind races through possibilities. Could Dex have survived somehow? Could his death have been staged? The questions multiply faster than she can process them, each one more disturbing than the last. Her appetite vanishes as she replays every moment of Dex's final hours at General Hospital. The surgery, the complications, the moment when the monitors went silent. It had all seemed so real, so final. But what if it wasn't? What if someone had orchestrated an elaborate deception? The thought terrifies and exhilarates her in equal measure. The resort's dark secrets. The Five Poppies Resort, with its pristine facade and luxury amenities, has already proven to house more secrets than initially apparent. Britt Westburn's presence here, alive despite everyone believing her dead, demonstrates that this Croatian paradise serves as more than just a vacation destination. If Britt could fake her death and end up here, working for mysterious handlers with unclear motives, could the same fate have befallen Dex? The possibility sends chills down Josslyn's spine as she considers the implications. Someone with significant resources and connections would need to orchestrate such an elaborate deception. Someone with the power to manipulate medical records, bribe hospital staff, and create entirely new identities. A mother's intuition versus professional duty. As the evening progresses, Josslyn finds herself torn between her personal emotions and her professional obligations. Vaughn notices her distraction, pressing her about her sudden change in demeanor, but she deflects with practiced WSB training. How can she explain that she might have just discovered her supposedly dead boyfriend alive and working under an assumed identity? The weight of maintaining her cover becomes almost unbearable as she spots Modric several more times throughout the evening, each sighting reinforcing her growing certainty. The way he moves through the dining room, careful to avoid her direct gaze, suggests someone trying very hard not to be recognized. Her WSB training tells her to report the incident, to seek guidance from her handlers back in Port Charles. But her heart rebels against the idea. If Dex is truly alive, if he's somehow ended up at this Croatian resort under circumstances she doesn't understand, then rushing into official channels could put him in even greater danger. The dangerous game ahead. As Josslyn lies awake that night, listening to Vaughn's steady breathing from the neighboring bed in their honeymoon suite, she makes a decision that will forever alter the course of their mission. She's going to find out the truth about Modric, regardless of the risk to herself or their carefully planned operation. The resort's labyrinthine layout offers numerous opportunities for discreet investigation, and Josslyn's WSB training has prepared her for exactly this type of covert reconnaissance. But she's walking into uncharted territory now, where her personal feelings could compromise everything she's worked for. Tomorrow, she'll begin her own private investigation into the man who might be Dex Heller. She'll use every skill Vaughn and Brennan taught her, every technique she learned during her intensive training, because if there's even the slightest chance that the love of her life is alive and in danger, she's willing to risk everything to save him, even if it means exposing their entire mission and potentially destroying her future with the WSB. The truth about Modric will come out, one way or another, and when it does, the reverberations will be felt far beyond the walls of the Five Poppies Resort, shaking Port Charles to its very foundation. Next, we will dive into the electrifying previews for the week of August 11th, 2025, where Jason Morgan embarks on a resolute quest to aid Britt Westburn, and Josslyn Jack springs into heroic action amid a life-threatening assault on her partner Vaughn. In the heart-pounding world of Port Charles, where alliances shift like shadows and secrets bubble to the surface, the upcoming episodes of ABC's General Hospital promise a surge of international intrigue and high-stakes rescues. Teasers highlight Jason Morgan's unwavering determination to support Britt Westburn, whose mysterious circumstances have kept fans guessing for months. Meanwhile, Josslyn Jax finds herself thrust into a perilous situation, compelled to act swiftly when Vaughn's safety hangs by a thread during their covert operation. This week's narrative builds on the soap's tradition of blending espionage with personal vendettas, set against the exotic backdrop of Croatia's sun-drenched shores. To infuse a fresh layer, whispers from the set suggest an ancient artifact hidden at the resort could tie into Britt's predicament, potentially linking back to old Port Charles rivalries and adding an archaeological twist to the unfolding drama. The mission kicks off with Jack Brennan, the enigmatic WSB operative known for his sharp intellect and unyielding directives, assigning Josslyn Jax and Vaughn to a critical undercover assignment that propels them straight to the picturesque yet treacherous landscapes of Croatia. Their objective involves infiltrating a web of international schemes, but the discoveries awaiting them carry unforeseen ramifications. including threats that could prove fatal for those involved as they navigate this foreign terrain. Disguised as tourists or perhaps affluent travelers, the duo encounters a series of escalating dangers that test their wits and partnership. Inventing an additional element, Vaughn might share a backstory during their flight over, revealing a personal stake in the mission tied to a long-lost family member, which deepens his commitment and raises the emotional stakes for Josslyn as she witnesses his vulnerability. A shocking revelation unfolds poolside at the opulent Five Poppies resort, where Josslyn is stunned to observe Vaughn casually applying a spritz of refreshing water to a woman's back, an intimate gesture that piques her curiosity amid their pretend romance cover. The woman turns out to be Britt Westburn, alive and evading detection in this remote haven, her presence a bombshell that defies all prior assumptions about her fate. Josslyn's initial failure to recognize her stems from Britt's clever camouflage haps, a wide-brimmed sun hat and oversized sunglasses that blend her into the crowd of vacationers lounging under the Mediterranean sun. In a tense exchange captured in the preview, Vaughn inquires about the mystery woman's identity, prompting Josslyn to retort with a mix of disbelief and urgency. "You mean, who was she?" Before explaining that Britt is presumed deceased, yet here she stands, vibrant and very much in the land of the living. This encounter not only rattles Josslyn, but also hints at broader conspiracies, with added detail imagining Britt whispering a cryptic warning to Vaughn about hidden surveillance cameras dotted around the pool area, urging discretion in their interactions. The intensity escalates dramatically when Josslyn returns to their shared hotel suite, only to stumble upon a horrifying scene. An unidentified attacker has Vaughn in a deadly chokehold, using a thin wire garrote that tightens mercilessly around his neck, leaving him gasping for air in a desperate struggle. The assailant, possibly a shadowy figure with ties to the resort's underground dealings, embodies the lethal risks of their mission, turning a luxurious getaway into a battleground. Shaken but resolute, Josslyn channels her inner strength honed from years of facing Port Charles perils alongside her, familiarly drawing her concealed weapon, steadying her aim with a squint of concentration, and firing a precise shot that could mean the difference between life and death. The question looms: will her quick thinking and marksmanship save Vaughn from this brutal assault, or will complications arise, such as a ricocheting bullet or the attacker's reinforcements, to creatively expand? Perhaps Josslyn recalls his self-defense lesson from her stepfather's sunny Corinthos during this split-second decision, infusing the moment with echoes of her mob-connected heritage and heightening the familial ties to the drama. Finally, the spotlight turns to Jason Morgan's rival in Croatia, where he steps out of a sleek vehicle in a dimly lit parking garage, his expression etched with purpose and concern for Britt's well-being. Voicing his intent aloud, "I have to make sure Britt's okay," Jason proceeds into the resort's elegant lobby, where he's cordially welcomed by Pascal, the suave manager whose polished demeanor might mask ulterior motives in this den of intrigue. As Jason scans the surroundings, his eyes lock with Britt's in a moment of mutual astonishment, her wide-eyed reaction betraying a flood of emotions, from relief to apprehension about her carefully constructed facade. This reunion sets the stage for revelations, with Jason's investigative prowess likely leading him to probe the reasons behind Britt's elaborate ruse of faking her own death, perhaps involving protective measures against a vengeful enemy or a deeper WSP conspiracy. Adding an inventive touch, Jason could discover a hidden note in his hotel room, planted by an ally, containing clues about Britt's staged demise, including forged documents that point to a larger plot involving international smugglers operating out of the resort. As these gripping scenes play out, General Hospital continues to deliver the pulse-racing excitement that has hooked viewers for decades, blending suspenseful action with heartfelt connections. Will Josslyn's bold intervention turn the tide? And can Jason uncover the full truth behind Britt's disappearance? Next, we will unravel the tantalizing possibility of a romantic switcheroo brewing in Port Charles, as shifting affections among Curtis Ashford, Jordan Ashford, Portia Robinson, and Isaiah Gannon hint at new pairings that could redefine their love lives. In the ever-evolving tapestry of relationships on General Hospital, where hearts entwine and unravel with the drama of a stormy sea, speculation is rife about whether the show is orchestrating a clever partner swap among some of its most beloved characters. Could Curtis Ashford find his way back to Jordan Ashford, leaving Portia Robinson to explore an unexpected connection with the newcomer Isaiah Gannon? This potential love quadrangle pulses with tension, drawing from a history of passionate entanglements. that have kept viewers hooked through seasons of betrayals and reconciliations. The dynamics echo the soap's hallmark of fluid alliances, where exes circle back and fresh faces ignite unforeseen sparks, much like the unpredictable tides along the Port Charles waterfront. To add an inventive twist, whispers from behind the scenes suggest a forgotten letter from Curtis's past might resurface, stirring old emotions and accelerating these romantic realignments in surprising ways. Tracing the origins of this intricate web, it all began with Curtis and Jordan's fiery union, a bond forged in shared adventures and mutual respect that once seemed unbreakable. Amid the town's undercurrents of mystery, their paths diverged, leading Curtis into the arms of Portia Robinson, whose steady presence offered a new chapter of stability and family focus, culminating in a marriage that promised enduring commitment. Meanwhile, Jordan briefly kindled a fleeting romance with Isaiah Gannon, the charismatic doctor whose rival brought a breath of fresh air to the hospital corridors, though it fizzled without much fanfare. Lately, Curtis and Jordan have rekindled a flirtatious vibe during chance encounters, their easy banter hinting at unresolved chemistry that simmers just below the surface. Now, emerging signs point to a budding attraction between Portia and Isaiah, perhaps sparked by late-night consultations that delve deeper than medical matters, leaving fans to ponder the ultimate outcomes. Will pair off with whom? In this game of romantic musical chairs? Expanding creatively, one could imagine a rainy evening where Portia and Isaiah share a coffee in a hospital lounge, their conversation veering into personal dreams, planting seeds for a connection that challenges her marital vows. After enduring a prolonged period of marital strife filled with arguments and external pressures, Curtis and Portia committed to rebuilding their relationship, vowing to prioritize open communication and shared goals in the wake of Portia's professional stresses at the hospital. Jordan, ever the graceful deputy mayor, chose to bow out gracefully, respecting their efforts to mend fences and focusing on her own career ambitions. Yet, in what felt like mere heartbeats later, Curtis and Jordan crossed paths again in a casual setting, mutually deciding that maintaining a platonic friendship was harmless, given their long history and the comfort of familiar companionship. This agreement, while innocent on the surface, carries undertones of lingering affection, especially as they laugh over old memories in public spots around town. To invent a new detail, perhaps during one such meetup at a local cafe, they reminisce about a past undercover operation, unknowingly observed by a passerby who misinterprets their closeness, fueling town gossip that reaches Portia's ears. Over at General Hospital, the lines between professional courtesy and personal intimacy have started to blur for Portia and Isaiah, as their interactions evolve from routine medical discussions to more confiding chats about life's challenges. This subtle shift didn't go unnoticed, with the astute Stella Henry happening upon a moment where their conversation turned warmly familiar, her raised eyebrows signaling potential concern for family loyalties. Shortly thereafter, Isaiah strolls through the serene park, only to spot Curtis and Jordan sharing a bench, engaged in what appears to be an animated, friendly exchange that borders on affectionate. This sighting raises questions about whether Isaiah might leverage this observation as leverage, perhaps reporting it back to a superior or using it to navigate his own growing interest in Portia. Adding an inventive element, Isaiah could jot down notes on his phone about the encounter, intending to process his feelings later, but accidentally leaving the device in a shared hospital break room, where it sparks unintended curiosity among staff. When it comes to Isaiah's role in Port Charles, the versatile surgeon seems omnipresent, lending an ear to virtually everyone's dilemmas, from workplace woes to heartfelt confessions, making him a de facto confidant in a town rife with secrets. His empathetic nature suggests he might have thrived as a psychiatrist, delving into the psyches of residents rather than wielding a scalpel in the operating room, where his calm demeanor already soothes anxious patients. Portia, in particular, has turned to him repeatedly with complaints about her home life, painting a picture of Curtis as an inattentive spouse through her biased lens, which could skew Isaiah's perception and fuel misguided sympathies. Since his friend Lucky Spencer's departure from town, Isaiah has wandered the hospital halls with a noticeable air of aimlessness, his expressions often distant as he contemplates his place in this close-knit community. He's taken on the project of refurbishing Lucky's old cabin in the woods, transforming it from a rustic hideaway into a cozy retreat, with modern touches like a stone fireplace and solar lighting, though its future purpose remains a mystery. For added depth, envision Isaiah hosting a small gathering there to unwind, where unexpected visitors drop hints about Portia's frustrations, subtly drawing him closer to her orbit. Fan theories abound regarding the cabin's role in upcoming plots, with some speculating that Willow Corinthos might resort to drastic measures by spiriting away her children during a custody crisis, using the secluded spot as a temporary sanctuary under Isaiah's protective watch. Others envision it as the clandestine venue for a forbidden affair between Isaiah and Portia, where stolen moments amid the whispering pines could escalate their budding chemistry into something irreversible. However, a prevailing sentiment among viewers is that Isaiah deserves a drama-free romance with someone unattached, such as the resilient Elizabeth Weber, whose shared experiences in the medical field and single status could foster a genuine, uncomplicated bond without entangling him in Curtis's marital web. This perspective highlights a desire for fresh pairings that avoid recycling old conflicts, allowing Isaiah to carve out his own narrative arc in Port Charles, inventing a new scenario. Perhaps Elizabeth and Isaiah bond over a late-shift emergency, discovering mutual interests in hiking that lead to innocent outings, contrasting the messier quadrangle dynamics. As these romantic possibilities simmer, the question lingers: what do you make of a potential Portia and Isaiah duo? Would such a pairing invigorate the storyline with new energy? Or do you prefer seeing Curtis and Jordan reunite while Portia stands her ground? Share your views in the comments below, and keep tuning in for more General Hospital insights and spoilers.